Hello, my name is Candace Parker, and today I'm going to be discussing why I believe that Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn would be a great addition to the other selections that we have studied this semester. I would like to start off by saying that The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn was and still is one of the most celebrated novels in American literature. Some would even say that it is the greatest novel in American literature. Every student that is studying American literature should be given the opportunity to study The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. It is important for students to get to study a novel that truly changed American literature. You might ask why this novel is so important. Well, for one, it was the first important American work to depart from European literary models. Mark Twain was one of the first in major American literature to use humor and vernacular in his work. Even though this is a fictional story, the language, treatment of African Americans, and the struggles of Americans during this time prior to the Civil War was very much the true reality of life back then. Mark Twain was the first to show what life was really like, even if it did offend others. The novel caused controversy upon its release and still has critics and controversy today. My visual aid is going to help me show a few examples of controversy that The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn have caused in the more recent years. I've picked a few over the last 60 years just to show how this novel is still being criticized. This is my visual aid. This is a poster I made to show the controversy caused in the United States over the last 60 years. This is just a few, not all. We'll start with the top one. This was back in 1955 when the TV station CBS tried to avoid controversial material in a televised version of the book by deleting all mention of slavery and having a white actor play Jim. In other words, they wanted to air the movie, and by doing so, it caused controversy because they deleted all the slavery and had a white actor play the black slave Jim. In 1982, a Virginia school administrator questioned the appropriateness teaching the book in the U.S. public school system. He did not believe that the material was suitable for high school children. However, this did not happen. They did not take the book out of schools. They just raised it to, they believed it was an 11th grade level. In 1990s, the American Library Association says that Huckleberry Finn was the 5th most frequently challenged book in the United States. I'm not sure what the other 5 were, but this ranked 5th among the challenged books to be taken out of schools. And in 2003, an African American student and her grandmother from Renton, Washington, asked for the Huckleberry Finn to be taken out of the curriculum for English at Renton High. They were denied this. Again, it was just kept to a 11th grade level. And most recently, in 2011, a new edition of the book was published, which caused controversy. It was published by New South Books. They replaced some of the bad language so it would be more appropriate and changed some of the content of the book. And this caused a lot of controversy because people believe that it should be left the way that it is. And that is all for my visual aid. Okay. And I'd like to start back by saying that even though this novel was published in 1884, it was powerful enough and touched enough people's lives, whether good or bad, that it is still discussed and taught today across many classrooms worldwide. In conclusion, I would like to say that Mark Twain was definitely one of the best writers of all time. I believe that if The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn would have been written in today's society, it would not have been near as controversial as it was during Twain's time. I believe Americans are more accepting today than they were back then. A lot of, the bad things back then were kept hush-hush. You weren't allowed to talk about it. In today's society, it's not so much like that. We're more open, like with reality TV. bad language and stuff really doesn't bother a lot of us. I believe this book would definitely have been more accepted in today's society, even though it still, causes controversy today for the age group of children that get to read it, because of the language and the vernacular that he uses. But I believe most parents that have, 11th graders, 16, 17-year-olds would not have a problem with this book being used for American literature. I hope that American literature instructors continue to carry on Mark Twain's most famous work, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I believe that everybody could benefit from this book. And not only is it an American literature piece, but I also believe American history, because it's really showing what the American history was like back prior to the Civil War. I hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.